In this video, we're going to discuss building your locators for your web elements on a web page. And we'll primarily be kind of in the XPath realm for this video, just to kind of give you an idea of how it works. Once we get into where we're actually writing automation scripts, we'll be using we'll use ID, partial link, CSS selector. But this just kind of shows you if you build the locator yourself for the web element, it'll be a much more robust way to go. So let's get started. I'm going to pull up Chrome right over here, and I've got Google out here by the default, and also I've got the Chrome driver. So these are two websites. I should say I've got the Chrome driver download page. So these are two websites you can get to, and you can practice this. So we want to find this Gmail. Now, I would do the search button, but not in this video because this is a dynamic XPath. It's a little more involved. So for now, we're just kind of doing an intro covering the basics of how to build them out to make your automation scripts more robust. So we're going to go with this Gmail link here. We want to get to this Gmail link, and we want it when we run our scripts that it pulls, that it goes out to this Gmail link and it finds it. No matter if this Gmail link goes here, or if it comes down at the bottom of the page or anywhere on this page, we will always find this link. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is called inspect the page. So we're just going to right click, and you have this little inspect option come available to you. And when you click on this, it'll bring up the Chrome tools, the development tools. Now, I've been in here, so this is at the bottom. You can change this by going here to where it says dock side, and you can undock in a separate window. You can have it dock to the left, dock to the bottom, which is one I use, and then dock to the right. So if you normally when you first use this tool, it will take into be at I believe it's the right side. I just like it here. It just reads easy for me, but your preference is your preference. So we have right clicked on this link, and it is pulled up, and we've opened up. We did the inspect, and it brings us to this area here. Now watch me whenever I hover my mouse cursor over this line, the one that was grayed when we hit inspect. See what happens to that Gmail link? Now I'm going to step up a line. Now you notice that little green that comes out to it. I'm going to go up another line. Now it's kind of getting the images, and then I'm going to go up another one. Now this is a div, and this div means that all of this area that I'm on right now, the Gmail and the images, live in here. So if we go up another one, well, now we're encompassing the account name, the little beaker glass, the other apps, and if we keep going up this, we're just going up the DOM or the HTML, and we're encompassing more and more. Because sometimes, depending on what you're looking for or wanting to locate, it can be difficult to get down here. And sometimes it'll be difficult because you may have collapsible or expandable type web elements. And when you initially launch on the page, it is collapsed, so it's not visible. So you may want to grab up here, and then you can go down. And that's what you'll find whenever you're working with web elements, especially in Selenium. Selenium gives you two options. They give you web element, singular, and web elements, plural. The web element is only going to pull back the one element. The web elements will load you can then load up a list of related web elements. So if you're doing, say, a search here, and you've got your XPath set up for the div in this header class, it'll pull back all of them. If you just have its web element, it'll find here, and it may go down one. Okay, but that's beyond the scope of this video, and we'll get more into that later. But let's continue on here. So I'm wanting in my automation script, I'm wanting to click on that Gmail, my Selenium automation script. So I'm going to need to build something out. So let's go here, and this is you can kind of do it this way, and if you see a lot of this type stuff, these are not reliable. They will work, but they're not reliable. And I'm going to do copy XPath. So I'm going to pull over a handy dandy notepad. And the reason I use notepad for this kind of stuff is because it strips out any of the ASCII. It just gives you just the base, any formatting that you could potentially get. So I'm going to paste that in there. And this is what it returns. So we've got // star, the ID equals GB. Well, let's take a look at that. Where is this ID at? Okay. So, and then it goes /div2, /div3, /div1, div1. Now these numbers here are what are called indexes. And so you could go div 3, 4, and if you have divs on the same level and you put 2, it's going to bring in the second one down. You put 3, it's going to go to the third one. It'll bypass 1 and 2 because you want to dive down. And that's how this is really going to come into play whenever we start getting into siblings and child and parent and grandparent. But let's break this down. Let's see what it does. So I'm going to copy that little portion out, and we're going to go over here. Now this is how you don't have to go back to your automation script and put this in here and try and go, okay, where am I going? You can do Control F, focused out there, and it puts this little find box down here. Now I'm going to copy and paste that in, and this is where it brought us to. So that first part of that brought us to the header class. Now I want to take and look at this, and we'll go down here systematically. Let me put this over here out of the way here. Okay, so the next one is /div, and we had the brackets. Now we're going to put an index number in there, and it was 2. Okay, so that brought us down. So where did this place us? Okay, we're still kind of up in the header. So now we're going to do /div 3. So we went down 3 more divs, and that brought us to here. Okay, so we need to get, oops, I made a mistake. This happens. Let me put it in the brackets. Wasn't a mistake, it was an undocumented feature. Okay, so now notice that this turns yellow, and it's going to do that each time. That you're actually getting it correctly. Before, when I didn't put the brackets around it, I just put the 3, it just went gray because at that point it goes, I don't know what you want here. So let's go back to and that's how you can know when you're building these out if you're getting close, as long as you're keeping focus in there. Okay, so we went div 3, right? And now let's hover over that and see where we are. Okay, now we're kind of over in that little container with the Gmail, the images, the little beaker, and the account stuff. Okay, so now let's go down a little bit deeper. Div, put our brackets, 1. So from there, we went down another one. Oh, now we're just kind of in the Gmail images. If you see, that's what's grayed out when I hover over here. And it lets me know when I go over, it gives me kind of that visual contextual of where I am. All right, so now we're down to div. Now we're going to do a little bit different, and I'm just following the X path that I did when I did the right click, copy X path. So now I'm going to go div, and it brought me down another one. So it brought me down to the next one, and now it's the Gmail now. But now notice when I'm hovering over this, okay, and I'm going down just one more. So see, as I hover over these, it's kind of bringing that down a little bit, kind of fine tuning it. So now the div, now over here, there's one more that it returned. Div. Oh, okay. So where am I at now? Oh, okay, I'm pretty close there. I've still got that little bit of the blue and the green, and I'm wanting this line here. See, when I go over it here. So now in that second div, because I'm setting here, I just want to go down one more. So I do the brackets. 1. Okay, and I am there. Now, I'm almost there. I'm here now. So I did the div. Now we're going to take and say, okay, / in that div, I want the anchor. So /a, and there I am. Okay, so you see how that got me to there? All this. Now this is what the code generated. Now this asterisk is a wild card, and these IDs, ideally, in when you're doing automation, if you can work on a web app or an application when you're doing your automation, it has IDs for all the web elements. You're golden, because that will definitely differentiate right where you need to be. Now, if you notice though, that ID's way up here when we first started, so that got us kind of in the area, kind of right in this area here. There it is. There's that ID. Asterisk ID GB. So that got us here. Well, we still had to get down to here, right? So that's why we had to kind of walk down from here. We said, anytime I need you to go here first, which is this area here, and it brings me the whole header area, the header class. Now you have to walk down it. Now the problem with that is let's say something comes in and that ID changes. Well, every test case, every automated test script that you have written that was relying on this as your XPath, we'll use XPath as an example, as your XPath is now broken. No mas. It does not work anymore. So let me show you one that we're going to do, that we're going to build, that's going to make it robust. Now, we know the location could change, the IDs could change at any time, and we know that this may move somewhere else, meaning that it may go up a div, down a div. So these indexes could just be invalid. So let's try this one. I'm going to delete this line. Okay. Now let's go / anchor. And look at there. If you can see this number, it says this is 1 of 47 anchors. So if we go down, 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 it'll just iterate through all the anchors, and eventually we'll find our oh, there's images. There's the Gmail one. It was the 7th in the row. Well, that's not going to work, because each time you run your script, it's probably going to grab the first one it comes to. So let's get it down a little bit, refine it a little more. So now we're going to do our brackets, and we know that label will always be Gmail. So we're going to do contains, and we want to do parentheses because it's going to return, and then we're going to do text, and again parentheses. But now this time we're going to go comma, single quote, and in that single quote we're going to give it the text that we're looking for. So we're going to do Gmail. Look at that. We're right here at it. Now, because we use the contains. Now, if you use a text, and we'll get into that deeper when we're actually writing our scripts. But text is the literal representation of the contains. So it means that you can use the literal, and when I mean literal, I mean the whole word, our words, or any part of the text. Or you can use a variation, because you're using, hey, it contains this. So we'll take the G off. Oh, we're still there. We'll take the AIL off. Oh, it's still finding it. We'll take just the EL, the IL. It's still there, and the L is still there. So we remove this one. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now you've got that one written. You've got, hey, it contains text, and you're building out all your web elements. And you've got that one. You say, okay, I've got the Gmail one. Okay, now I need to get over there to images. Well, you just come here and you just go IMAGES. Oh, it's still doing Gmail. What is? Oh, it's case sensitive, I bet you. Images. There we go. So that's really the one big caveat to it, is that it is case sensitive. So this, now notice, let me pull the other one over here that was built for us. I'm just going to put a space here just so you can see a comparison. So we have all this, okay, and then we have all of this that we did. And now here, for us to get to images, well, let's click on images, and we'll do a comparison with it. So I'm going to do inspect, and this is another good little tip for you. If you're in here and somehow you've gotten lost or clicked off of here, let's go up here and click. You've got, I lost where that was at, and I don't remember the actual text that was in the HTML, just come up here, right click and hit inspect again, and it'll bring you down there to it. So let's see what it returns for it, and we'll do a comparison. So I'm going to copy the XPath. And this is something you can use whenever you're kind of learning XPath. And XPath is very, very dynamic, very flexible. Okay, so this one here is the one that had the Gmail. This one is the one with the images. Now let's do a comparison. Do you see the differences here? This is the same. That's the same. That's the same. And that's the same. And this one, oh, here's the differences. This is the first one. This is the second one. Okay. Now, in that scenario, there's not that big of a change. But let's say it was at a different one where all the numbers were different and a little off. It can take you a while to figure that out. Whereas if you come in here and build this with the contain, just slash. Now let's try this one, slash. Let's do our wildcard. And then we're going to do our brackets. Then we're going to do contains. Our parentheses, because it's returning something. And now we're going to put text in our brackets again, because the value is being returned. So think of it like a function. And now we're going to go our quotes, and now we'll do our Gmail. And look at that, brought us right back to it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why it's better to build this, because now if they say, hey, we don't want this to be an anchor now, we want this to be a span or a paragraph or something of that nature, and you still got to get down to that Gmail, or with that asterisk now being a wildcard, it doesn't matter what this is, because before, we used an A, and it's still there. We used the wildcard, and it's still there. So now let's put it like a span. Okay, we don't find anything. Until that turns yellow, you haven't locked onto it. So in essence, that's why it's better to build out your XPath like this method and do it here to where you see it. So it's more robust. Your tests will run under all kinds of different conditions. The only thing that'll mess that up really is if they change that label, that Gmail text. And we'll get into other ones, and we'll get into the dynamic XPath as we go deeper into our automation lectures and coding. So from here, I would just take this, right click it, and I would copy it, and I would go into my automation script, and where I do find elements by .xpath, and those double quotes, I drop that, what we just wrote right here in there, and then your test will find it every time, no matter what changes, no matter where it goes up and down the DOM or the HTML. All right. Well, I hope you got something out of this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching.